Why did you decide to list here in London?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And we chose London because we're a British company, and I think London is now open for cannabis companies. But our DNA being both based in London and Oxford is very British. So the London Stock Exchange main market seemed the right place to do it, and we're incredibly fortunate to have raised £16.5 million.
And I know, Neil, you're very focused, of course, on the pharmaceutical aspect to this. And I know in the past you've, tried to say that you wanted to replicate also the success of GW Pharma. How do you see that path going?
Well, yes. I mean, yes, of course we're a cannabis firm. We're a medical cannabis firm, and we work with cannabis and cannabinoids. But we do that through the pharmaceutical development channels that have been around for decades, of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials. And that's the way we feel that you really get the confidence of the medical community behind you to prescribe cannabinoid-based medication, which has huge potential. There's massive potential in the plant, but they only prescribe it with confidence if you go through these existing channels. And GW is the really our key comparable. They've done that for many, many years now, and they were bought for $7.5 billion, or just over $7 billion a few months ago. And so that's the type of success that we're looking to emulate, and it's by pursuing cannabis development through pharmaceutical channels that we think you really do get success in the cannabis market.
So do you expect to see more medical marijuana listings in London?
I expect so. I think London has been incredibly forward-thinking and now opening up the right type of professionally run medical cannabis firms. And it's good news for the market. We're a center of finance of the world, and it just seems only natural to now open up the London Stock Exchange for cannabis companies.
I mean, could it actually become, a couple of years ago, it was all about Toronto or Canada for some of these listings. Do you think that the UK could become that pocket now?
I hope so. I think the London Stock Exchange has, it's one of the oldest exchanges in the world, but it's also one of the most forward-thinking. And now that cannabis is going global, and it's not just about North American companies, it's about UK companies such as us, and about European and Asian companies. I think London is poised to be a real potential hub for cannabis listings, medical cannabis listings going forward.
Give me a sense of what you think, Neil, would have to change for some of this, cannabis-derived medication to become more mainstream.
I think the key is to get to generate data. It's to get the confidence of the medical community that this plant, this amazing plant that has so many different cannabinoids, both major and minor, in it, to get the confidence that there's huge medical potential there. And the way to do that is to generate classic pharmaceutical data, randomized controlled trials, and work with the cannabis plant, as we do at OCT, but taking them through these pharma channels of development to really build that confidence up in the medical community. Once you've got that confidence amongst doctors, then I think we're very much on the way to mainstream acceptance of the medical power of cannabis and cannabinoids, which has the potential to be absolutely huge, as GW's multi-billion acquisition shows.
How big do you think it can be? So, if you give me a sense of size and scope, how big is it now, and how big will it be in 5 years and then 10 years?
Well, so I think if you look at just what we're looking to do, which is take cannabis-based medications addressing the pain markets, given the opioid crisis and the backdrop that has. That alone is a 40 billion pound and over 40 billion pound pain market. And so, but cannabis and cannabinoids have the potential to work not just in pain. GW focuses a lot on neurological conditions. Jazz Pharma focuses on neurological conditions. There's a huge amount of other indications in the pharma industry that cannabis can really address and really have a massive benefit for people across the world. So it has the opportunity to be multi-hundred billions, this market. And then hopefully we will be one of the companies that can kind of capture some of that share.
Neil, when you look at, I guess, some of the barriers to entry, again, I mean, what makes a successful company in this space and others, won't be so successful? What will differentiate OCT compared to the others?
I think it's about quality of management team and support of sort of institutional shareholders. So our team is incredibly professional, led by a seasoned pharma exec with 2 decades of pharma experience. And the rest of the team around him are very, very high quality from previously working in mainstream industries. I think both with FTSE 100 Imperial brands in our shareholder base, it's ensured that we've had to do everything to not just above board standards, but to those high FTSE 100 standards of reporting and compliance. And I think the cannabis market is such that there's a massive tailwind to it, and it's a bit of an open door. But how you differentiate yourself versus other cannabis companies is through quality of management team. And I really believe that. And I think we're well positioned in that regard.
How helpful is it actually to be backed by, a name like Snoop Dogg, because it grabs people's attention?
So I've never met Snoop Dogg, but we have been incredibly supported by his investment firm, Casa Verde Capital, that invests in cannabis companies all over the world. And they've been so helpful. The managing partner, Karen Wadderer, and the other partner, Yoni Meyer, have been incredibly supportive since their investment in 2018. And so from that perspective, brilliantly helpful. We've had access to their network, to their expertise, to their board guidance, and it's been a massive benefit to us.